Early on in life, I was met with the painful reality that I would probably never have anime powers. Growing up, my friends and I would always play Dragon Ball Z, which was essentially an elementary school fight club. Amidst the epic clash of tiny fists, no Kamehamehas were ever launched, despite the extensive training we all put in. No longer a boy, but now a therapist man-child, I want to look at the skill of controlled breathing that we have seen used to unlock our protagonist's potential in the likes of Demon Slayer and Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. So, join me as we explore how controlled breathing can help us unlock our potentials and gain mastery over our emotions, just like our anime heroes. Two prominent animes that feature breathing as part of their power systems are Demon Slayer and Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. In Demon Slayer, using concentrated breathing allows characters to increase their physical abilities and mental focus, and use fighting styles based on different elements to fight on equal footing with the demons they must slay. In JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, controlled breathing gives characters the ability to use Hamon, which allows them to harness the energy of the sun and use specialized fighting techniques to do combat with vampires and other supernatural foes. It's basically Sunshine Karate. There's obviously a theme here, that mastery over breathing techniques allows for greater control and mastery over our protagonist's powers. This allows our best boys and JoJos to go toe-to-toe with enemies they normally wouldn't be able to stand a chance against. But how true is this when we actually apply breathing techniques to real life? While we may not gain access to cool elemental attacks, Sunshine Karate, or whatever this cool thing is, controlled breathing does still have real-life benefits and can affect our physical and mental states. Slower, more controlled breathing helps us to reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and even helps us focus. Conversely, breathing faster and heavily can be beneficial during physical activities or for enhancing our alertness. I'd also go as far as to say that yelling is another form of breathing technique when utilized properly. So I'll also add Dragon Ball to that list because they do that stuff all the time. This is because when we yell, grunt, or make an assortment of animal noises when we're physically active, we activate our core, which in turn helps us brace for heavier physical activity. It also activates our nervous system in a way similar to fight or flight, which can give us a bit of an adrenaline burst. So, to our childhood selves, screaming did make you stronger, just not in the way that you were hoping for. While I'm really oversimplifying things, I think that it's apparent that our breathing does have an effect on us. Or, better put, we have an effect on our breathing as it responds to our body's needs. And this is where the idea of practice and mastery of breathing starts to come in. While our breathing is normally an automatic reaction, what happens when we actually aim to gain control over that? I mentioned the nervous system not just because I wanted to talk about Dragon Ball again, but because how we breathe is controlled by it. Depending on the state we're in, our body reacts in kind. Slower breathing during minimal exertion and higher breathing when we're being called to action. Our emotions also play a part of this equation as well, with high energy emotions resulting in faster breathing and lower energy emotions generally resulting in slower breathing. While most of these processes are out of our control, breathing is something that we can try to take control over. By breathing in a certain manner, we're able to mimic how our body might be responding in a different situation. So by controlling our breathing, we're able to activate our parasympathetic nervous system and try to calm ourselves down, even when the situation we might be in might call for different emotions. When we look at how we can control ourselves from an internal level, we can start to make sense of all the other applications that controlled breathing can afford. Whether it be to calm ourselves down or to increase our alertness, controlled breathing allows for a degree of control that we wouldn't otherwise have. Through controlled breathing, we could influence the automatic responses in our body that are normally regulated by stress and emotions. And if you ask me, that kinda lines up with the anime powers of breathing forms and Hamon. Maybe not to as big of extremes, but definitely to a degree that has a basis in reality. And I know, I don't want to be in reality either. I want my cool anime powers, but we take what we could get. So let's take a look at some of the other benefits that deep breathing has for us. Research has shown that controlled breathing can lead to an overall increase in relaxation and comfort and a decrease in feelings of stress, anxiety, or even depression. And this is why I try to sell controlled breathing as a go-to coping skill to all my clients. It's something that's been shown to have quite a few benefits while being relatively easy to practice and master. And speaking of practice and mastery, I've explained a bit of the why of this real life anime power, but didn't really explore much of the how. Since I'm not trying to cause someone to have an anxiety attack or anything like that, I'll do a bit of guided deep breathing here. It could look different for everyone, but this is a great base to start from. The technique is called the 4-7-8 technique because it involves breathing in for 4 seconds, holding it for 7, then breathing out for 8. It could be helpful for managing anxiety or generally quieting your mind a bit when things start to feel hectic. So let's do some deep breathing with Tanjiro. Follow Tanjiro as he goes through his breathing. Remember to try to focus on belly breathing as we go through this exercise and let yourself have full, deep breaths. Breathe in for about 4 seconds. Hold it for about 7. Then exhale slowly through your mouth for 8. Good. Now repeat. Breathe in, hold, and breathe out. Try repeating this about 5 times and try to notice any changes in yourself. And just as a warning, I'm going to be changing gears back to my normal energy. And that's an example of a guided deep breathing exercise. You could really change the timing to suit whatever works for you. Really, so long as you're breathing deep and slow, you're bound to experience the calming sensation that comes along with deep breathing. The more you practice deep breathing as a regular skill, the more likely you'll be able to use it when you really do need help calming yourself down. We watch as our anime protagonists use controlled breathing to take on vampires and demons. The inner demons that we face on a daily basis, like stress or anxiety, can almost feel as unstoppable and uncontrollable. We could turn the odds in our favor against these feelings through the use of controlled breathing, which allows us to gain some control over these automatic reactions we have. Maybe we can't perform the extreme feats like our favorite anime characters, but we can gain some control where we might have felt helpless before. We don't need to be slaves to our feelings. We can control how we react to a situation in a way that we want to. And while controlling our breathing might not be the superpowers we hoped for, it's what we have. And with practice, we could turn our breathing into something truly amazing for ourselves. To help us cultivate calmness, inner focus, and the resilience to fend off our inner demons and truly create something worthy of being called our anime superpower. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. I hope you're able to get something insightful or enjoyable from this video. If you did, I'd appreciate a like on this video. Or maybe go check out the rest of the channel where I look at some other animes and connect them to some psychological concepts and theories. Let me know in the comments if you have any other ideas of anime power systems like Dragon Ball Z and Anger Power Boost or something that you'd want analyzed from a mental health lens. I'd also love to hear about any coping skills that y'all use and maybe already relate to anime in some way. And finally, remember when you're facing something stressful or hard to harness some of that inner power of yours and take a deep breath like our anime heroes. This has been Papa Kuma, and thanks for stopping by.